All right, hello. Today we're going to talk about words, and it's about the transfer of information received and given, and how it's faulty, where there's problems. So, the key principle here I kind of want to make is that don't take things on face value. Try to understand what you're hearing, try to digest it, get the pieces that ring true to you here and here, and take in consideration till you hear more later on. It, Everything doesn't have to be a rejection or an exception. It's just you hold on to what sounds that rings true here and rings true here for now until proven otherwise later on by others or yourself. All right, so we're going to talk about six parts that we all know of, right? We're going to talk about receptors, and I would say, how do you say the word? Uh, Outlets, or like inlets and outlets. So, for instance, your nose is primarily an inlet. You smell in, and that smell, those signals, is information. You hear noise. It's information that you hear coming inwards, the inlet. Your eyes, primarily an inlet. Now, of course, there's body language, which is more of an outlet. But okay, so eyes, you have inlet, you see images. Now, the point here I want to make is not everyone sees the same thing. Not everyone smells the same way or hears the same way. Some people are tone deaf. I'm actually tone deaf in certain tones, certain octaves. Some people are colorblind. Some people see red, and other people see a different kind of red. Or some people see certain colors blending together, and they can't tell the difference between the two or three different colors. That and then there's vision, of course. Oh yeah, we already talked about vision. So smells. Okay, smells. Now this might be sound like superpowerish, but there's people that are super sensitive to certain smells. I start smelling barbecue, and boy, it drives me crazy. Okay, maybe barbecue might not be a great one because it's smoke related. But orange peels, so orange oils. So I like oranges, but when someone's peeling the orange in the other room, I can smell that, and it hits me like a hammer. Um, so there are people super sensitive to certain smells versus other people. Uh, the point here I'm trying to make is not that everyone's different, and everyone is different, but everyone's flawed. I want to make the more flawed argument more so than the different, the what do you call it, the neutral standing of saying things, because people are flawed. We're not perfect. Let's take some other senses into consideration. Okay, we have, I would say, the most important senses of what are um, an outlet is our mouth. Now, our mouth is an inlet too. Of course, we eat substances and such, foods, you know, but mostly it's an outlet for information. Um, so that's one's very key here. Now, this goes together with this and this. So your brain, your heart. So these parts, there are there's say you know something, and this happens to me a lot. I'm not so fluent on translating what I know into an utterance, and I believe most people have the same problem. They'll know something, but they can't get it out here. They don't know how to explain it here. And sometimes the knowing isn't always up here. The knowing's here too. You know something's bothering you. There's no something's a little off right there. Your brain's not picking it up, but you know it here. And you don't have the utterance to speak it here. And then there's now this isn't a bad thing here. There's people that are headstrong and less of the heart. So they're more thinking, so the emotions don't bother them as much. But then there's other people that are heart strong, leading by the heart. Now there's pluses and pros and cons to this type of mentality. I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I think both are really good. I think extremes can be more problematic than positive. Now, but I would say more leaning towards one way or the other way is great. You know, lean a little bit more mentally, that's fine. Uh, or lean a little bit more emotionally, that's fine. But the thing here is, I would say what's best. Or no, 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 okay. Not to say what's best. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you guys, your own feelings, um, or your own understanding of what I'm uttering here, and your own experience here, is that most problems come about when there's a separation of here and here. So one thing's saying one thing and the other saying another. Now you want to have both senses. Like I said, going on extremes, you're in danger zones. So you're just all mental, you're going to be heartless. If you're just all emotional, you're going to be susceptible to not understanding things coming your way. You may say, "Oh, what is this happening? This is so much." Oh, okay, well, I don't want to give a demonstration there, but the point is, without understanding, doesn't calm this down. So understanding helps calm the heart down, and the heart helps motivate the understanding. So there needs to be a synergy there. That's why I say leaning one way or the other is a good thing. But the point here is we're all different. We're all flawed. We all take in this transfer of information differently from our own experiences. And some people are separate. Some people are leaning one way towards the other when it comes to these core parts. Yeah, this is fun to really go into more depth about, but I'm going to leave it to there because the topic is on transfer of information. Let's see. So I just want to talk about those problems and those leading parts: mind, heart, and then the utterance. Key thing here I want to be talking about is the utterance, because these things are cool to talk about, but transferring this to here is another thing. Transferring this to here is another thing. Okay, now I'm going to talk about, now again, don't take things on face value. That's my warning of this picture, this video for today. There's 3 levels. I want to kind of give you an understanding. Like there's words, there's context, which is a conglomerate of words that explain maybe a word or a topic, or let's just say a word. Now, and then there's the third action, is actions. You ever heard the saying, actions speak louder than words? So you can be like saying the correct words, and you can, but the thing is, if you just accept the words without the context of what is pointing these words in a certain direction, the words themselves mean nothing. The words can change. Let me give you a demonstration with this. Okay, words don't change. The meaning associated with the word can change, especially in time. For instance, let's take the word gay or faggot. So, say 30 years ago, I feel gay. You know, different meaning. It meant happy. I felt happy. But nowadays, it means homosexual. So there's a different meaning that got associated to it and lost in time. Now, let's say I'm going to go smoke some faggots. I could be meaning that I'm going to go burn a wood pile, or it could mean I'm going to smoke some cigarettes. Or again, I can mean I can be burning homosexuals. Okay, so you get my drift. Meaning matters more than the words, because people associate meaning with words differently, especially in different cultures. Let me give you another example. Okay, so in America, I live in America, so I drive on the right side of the road. In other countries, They drive on the wrong side of the road. No, they drive on the left side of the road. Um, in our culture, we read from left to right. In certain cultures, they read from top to bottom. In in our culture, we turn the page from left to right. In other cultures, they turn the page from right to left. So there's lots of things to take into consideration, just the transfer of information. So don't take things on face value. Don't consider just what someone said, but what he's acting out, what he's saying. So take the context, and the context is higher, I would say, a higher level than just the words or a sentence. Context matters more. But then again, if uh, uh, um, you lead with your mind on the extreme, you can manipulate that stuff. So even the context can be a manipulation. So you shouldn't even take that as fact until you understand it experientially. If you understand it here and it rings true here. Now, the best way to really see truth is in action. When 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 words and context are together in action. This is of course considered not being a hypocrite, practicing what you preach. If you're going to say one thing, uh, you're going to act upon that one thing. Now, if you say one thing and you don't act upon that, you actually you go against what you say. You're a hypocrite. And this the label is a condescending label, but what it really but don't think of it like, oh, it's condescension, it's just like a bad word. No, it has meaning. It means that there's typically a problem with the connection between here and here. And if you don't have that connection here, you lose genuineness, uh, um, being genuine with yourself initially. If this is disconnected from here, and you put on different hats for different scenarios, it's not that you're not genuine to others, but most of all, you're not genuine with yourself, and that takes away perspectives, insights, uh, and interpretation in when people are trying to convey things to you, or what you are seeing in your day-to-day living. You can disagree with me, or you can agree with me. Tell me, or just ask yourself what rings true to you. Um, let's see here. So, yeah, another demonstration here I want to kind of make is that you ever played the telephone game? You have I remember when I was a kid, preschool or something like that. We sat down in a ring. We told the kid one thing in the ear. That kid told another thing in the ear. And it went all the way around. And the thing that you said initially in the first person's ear, it comes out differently on the last person, the person's mouth. So, again, I want to stress the faultiness of the transfer of information. So, if you have, and I think this is where a lot of news, now this is kind of, this is on topic, but a lot of news stations, yeah, if they're more mental, they have an agenda. But let's say there's room for a lot of error as well. Error in the sense that they're getting one source, or they're getting a source from a source. So when you're getting multiple sources from different people, you would think, well, you're getting a lot of context, right? You get a lot of information, trying to weed out the truth, or you're diluting the truth. So it's a hard job. I mean, I've kind of, on one hand, it's fun to point out the media, fake news. On the other hand, it's like it's a job prime for miscommunication, especially when your job is on the line and you need to make a quota, make something stick out for someone to read. You know how it is. I think they call it clickbait. Let's see. There's other things, meaning. Now, I'm going to talk, like, for example, let's do another example here. The Bible. A lot of people think the Bible is one book, but actually it's a conglomerate of books, letters, and scrolls. It's actually 66, a conglomerate of books, letters, and scrolls. So on one hand, it's one book. Boom. On the other hand, it's not. Now, so that's giving more context to the accepted, let's say, the word the Bible. Remember, the Bible actually means the book of books. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so, but now let's take another analogy and see how it's kind of twisted a little bit. In because people tend to accept things on face value more so than going into detail, understanding the context. And not always the context is always correct too, because sometimes it dilutes the truth. But actions, always go to actions, speak louder than words. That dictates the truth of things when observing what someone's uttering, especially when you're reading the Bible. Now, here's another thing in the Bible. Now, there's people say that there's 4 Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Now, those that don't know what I'm talking about, kind of bear with me a little bit here. But the thing is, there's only one Gospel. You see this in Galatians 1:8. Is it Galatians 1:8? Let me look at my notes here. Galatians 1:8, yes. And there's actually a warning put on, associated with that notion. There's only one gospel. Now, I'll go into that detail later on in other videos. Remember, it's the transfer of information. So there's one thing taken at face value because someone labeled, well, these are the 4 Gospels. On one hand, they are the 4 Gospels, but they're 4 testimonies of that person's experience of the one Gospel. They're all speaking the same thing from a different perspective. So on one hand, they're not in error saying that there's that 4 Gospels, but in context, like I said, it's 4 perspectives of the one Gospel. All right. Let's see here. We got context, actions. Okay, so the moral of this video here, excuse me, don't be quick to accept things on face value, especially words and utterance. It has to ring true here and here, together. Now, you might understand something, you might accept something here. It's your job later on to realize it here too. Even if these things do feel separated at times on certain perspectives, topics, utterances. And then, there's more that meets the eyes. Don't be always accepting. I mean, you want to take in information, sure. You want to, make sure that accept the person, and then accept, somewhat filter the information that you're taking in. Just like you're filtering the information I'm taking to you. Don't completely deny it. Don't completely accept it. Right now, I am pointing out to you the way to think for yourself that matches, that you know for yourself, that rings true here and here, together. All right, I hope you liked this video. I'll have more. This is the first index video. Till next time.